Hi guys, I'm Eleanor Pichero and I'm very excited here because I have just landed in Dallas in Texas, and I'm sitting with the president of Precision Set, Buzz Jopling, who founded this bridal manufacturer in 1987.
Right.
And I think to this day, we're okay to say that you have no competitor doing exactly what you're doing, which is kind of what watch manufacturers do. You're fully integrated from A to Z and you create everything. So if we back up a little, how did that story started?
Well, I started the business in 1987 with a business partner who's since retired about a year ago, well-deserved retirement. His name was Jim Jordan, and we started the business together with the aspect of machining rings, and we were machining from die-struck blanks, and that was when the channel setting with baguettes and channels, that sort of thing, making wedding bands was very in style at the time. And we did an awful lot of that, and we always took the quality setting aspect of things. As we grew, we had different artisans come to us wanting to work for us, and we trained them in our way, and they learned how to set our way, whether it's pave, channel setting, or bezel setting, any type, but it's all done to perfection.
And how in the last 37 years, how did the bridal market has evolved on a client standpoint, from their request to the style? Because you can only do people think that you can only do so much when it comes to bridal. Like, it's very niche, but people don't realize how big of a market it is if you include wedding bands and engagement ring.
So styles have obviously changed. They change every year, and we've adapted to it. So we are the originators of the flush fit engagement ring, where bands fit flush with the ring, and all the different bands that we do. Any assortment can be done any way and put with any kind of engagement ring. As time's gone on, things were more, as you called, bespoke earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We get special requests. Those are obviously done through CAD, and we make changes quite often, and that's pretty much predominant in this industry, I think, right now.
So what you're saying is sky is the limit when it comes to creating a bespoke, whether it's an eternity ring or an engagement ring.
Pretty much, and our advantage is that everything is done here. So we're able to take the request from the customer, and the people that we don't use just a normal customer service. We have inside salesperson, people that are very experienced in what they do. They're very knowledgeable about the manufacturing process. And so they can understand exactly what our clients are asking for and accommodate them through a CAD rendering or a machine, whether it's still a machine product, and then produced exactly the same way. That same salesperson sees that product all the way through the shop and sees it come out.
And is it true that when a client calls for a specific request, most of the time they actually don't really know what they want? They want this, but with different changes, and from the first design to the very end, things have evolved and changed sideways so many times.
Well, sure, the changes.
They think they know, but they don't.
That's correct, and the changes come frequently. So we may do 2 or 3 different renderings before they do decide on one. But they typically, it just takes 1 or 2 times, and they do decide on it. We're very careful about the renderings that we do, and when we do them, we make sure that we can produce directly from what the drawings that we were doing are. So a lot of people in the industry, they may have a drawing done somewhere else, but then when it comes to the manufacturing process, they actually have it redrawn.
Or the other way around, they buy from a catalog, which is most of the time white label, which is not a bad thing, but they don't produce everything on site, so they don't have the full operation and all the steps of the way where they can control, change, or adapt. because they're just selling an end product.
Sure.
And
Sure.
so if you're a client who's most of the time men buy engagement rings, but then they get the woman involved when it comes to wedding bands or eternities, what are the different steps in order to create this band or call in order to have you help them decide what they want?
Well, we have such a wide variety of things that we produce on a normal basis and that we either carry in a sales line or carry in stock here. And so there's lots of adaptations that are done from the existing bands. So it makes the design process easier for us because they may be taking one part of one band and adding an attribute of another. And our design staff is very, very experienced with all that. And our salespeople are very experienced with that. So they understand both ends of that and they're able to create what the customer wants that way.
So if we really get into the, not do it yourself, but into the making of a wedding band or an engagement ring, you start with a sketch.
Typically, we will start with a very primitive sketch of some
Okay.
sort just to get to the idea.
And then the second step is putting this into a computerized system like a CAD or 3D rendering in order to see what the ring would look like.
So the person handling the customer, typically on the phone, will go through the best process necessary. So if it goes into a design phase with CAD, then it will go straight to CAD. If they may make a decision that particular ring, especially eternity rings, may be made through the machining process. If that's done, the design is typically made through a sketch, or we use photographs to tell them what it's going to look like, and then we machine it and produce it. If it's done through CAD, they see the renderings.
And then what comes next?
Once the renderings get to the completion stage, then they're produced, they're printed, and then they go straight to casting. And we do that here too.
Whether it's gold or platinum.
Gold, platinum, whatever metal.
And once the casting is done, that's when the drilling process starts in order to see where the stones will be fit, if there are any.
Usually the process from where the stones will be fit will happen in the drawing phase of it. We take every casting that we do and it goes through a rigorous cleanup process. So every rough edge, any type of area where it does need to be drilled through will be taken care of. So the ring will be totally prepped by the time it gets to the diamond setter.
So the diamond setting part is kind of the last part of the process before the setting and the polishing.
There's a polishing phase that goes prior to the setting, like I was saying, that's very extensive. So the setter doesn't have to worry about that part of it. So there's no porosity, and they set the piece and are able to do it with kind of a problem-free situation. Each setter is specialized, whether it's pave, it's bezel set, French cut setting, any.
What is a French cut?
So it's a crisscross pattern that's done, and it's made to raise a bead in a certain way, and it gives it a certain shine to the setting. Very clean type of setting.
And I'm pretty sure 99% of French people have no idea they've got a cut to their name.
Yeah, it's commonly called that, and it's very similar to pave.
Okay. And what's the most challenging or the most difficult either stone shape to set or actual setting that requires most experience and detail and time?
Well, any type of fancy shapes, but anytime we're dealing with any kind of large color, that can be very extensive, like large emeralds. Any type of fancy shapes with sharp corners, like a marquee, princess cut, that sort of stone.
What everybody wants right now.
Not a princess cut.
Well, thank you so much for your time and delving into this fantastic bridal world, which I think is not too often well shown or explained. And it's so fascinating because it's kind of what most women wear when it comes to jewelry on a daily basis. So we should be taking more time into understanding the process and what sits on our fingers for decades and decades.
Let's look at the shop.
Absolutely. Thank you.